Do you remember when you were living back in Michigan here? Do you remember the radio station WOMC, the oldies station?
Sure.
They somehow I ended up listening to them over the summer, and they were playing stuff from the early '90s. They had MC Hammer's "Can't Touch This" on. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm officially old now. They're playing that music when I was a kid. Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to that very special, magical episode of the Tabletop Battlefield, where if we ever wonder sometime in the far distant future if we're being shadow banned or suppressed by the YouTube algorithm, it's almost certainly one of these episodes. We were over on the TOV Live podcast that I join with Ryan every now and then. I dug up on a chat an old video we did years ago for the Christmas episode, and the thumbnail from that is me holding two prop firearms, even though that neither one of them is actually a real firearm. It's probably like those are the kind of things that YouTube just doesn't like. It probably can't tell the difference between a random video game prop and, an actual like real gun. So it's like, whoops. Maybe that's why things are the way they are these days.
And now, just you talking about it, this is probably going to be shadow banned.
It probably will be. It probably will be. They don't like that kind of a stuff, do they? Anyway, the Christmas episode basically at this point has become story time with Ryan as he digs up. I have no idea what he's planning to bring up this year. He's talked about a number of fun news stories he's been collecting all year long, and I've got some fun random crap we can dive into as well. Why don't we just very quickly, as we normally do, talk of just a few minutes, Ryan, about what you've been up to this year, and then we'll get into the fun new stuff.
Sure, catch up. Well, this is going to take more than a few minutes, but I'm trying to be as
I got a stopwatch running.
Yeah, I know. I can see the time too a little bit, but okay. So personally, me and my family went to Peru this year. Interesting trip, an adventure trip. It was not a vacation. We were there for about a month, and we visited a lot of family, and we got to see. Basically, we didn't go to the tourist type areas in Peru. We went to my wife's father's hometown in San Miguel, Peru, in the Cajamarca area province. And if you don't know where that is, look it up. It's way up. It's way up there in the Andes Mountains. So we got to experience the the culture, the food, getting sick from the high elevation, stuff like that. I got basically 4 days altitude sickness. About like 4 or 5 days into the trip, I ended up with strep throat, and it was like a strep that was in the region, and we were in this house where it's like the bathroom was outside and it had no roof. And the room we were in, the floor was literally dirt and rock. And I mean, don't get me wrong, the family was very nice. People were very nice there, and they helped us in every way we could. But basically, the whole time I was pretty sick. I didn't really recover fully until we got back home, and so was my wife, and so was my son a little bit. So yeah, that's and you realize that like say like the Appalachian Mountains, they're not that high here. They're really not that high. No. Nope. If you want high elevations, yeah, go the Andes Mountains. That would be an adventure trip, not a vacation.
What altitude were you at?
Oh, what was it? I don't want to say it wrong because my mind's not there. But what is it? And if I'm wrong, but this is what's like 8,000 to 9,000, I think, above sea level. I think. Correct me if I'm wrong because it could be wrong, but it's a pretty high elevation. Just put it that way. It's basically up there in the range to where you can start having breathing issues if you have medical problems, and we did. You could feel it. You could feel even like 50-degree weather at night felt so much colder. And this was like not their summer; it was the middle of our summer. But while back here it was like 90 plus degrees, there was 50 degrees in high elevations. It's pretty cold. So, but we survived. We made it back, and I mean, we experienced some things. We saw a little bit of ruins, so that was a little bit fun, and we traveled a lot. It takes a long time to get anywhere around there, and yeah, it's just totally different culture, totally different infrastructure of a country, even far more than like Honduras, where we were last year. So yeah, that was the family outing for this year, and then of course for me went to EscapeCon a little bit this year, and still doing now the TOV podcast, and we're doing that regularly now, like almost every other Sunday, usually talking about HeroScape. And I think we'll probably talk about this more, but yay, HeroScape is actually coming back.
It's what it seems like for real this time.
That's what Renegade tells us, so I guess we'll believe them until like another ball drops, but that seems to be the case.
We got an announcement that an announcement is coming about the future of HeroScape.
Right.
It's like
March 1st.
I guess that's the way to do things.
Yeah. Got an announcement, and apparently on that announcement day you can start pre-ordering stuff, so that will be interesting come next year. So that's a fun look at HeroScape. Let's see. Let me take a look. Okay, and the fall. Let me just talk about the fall for a second, okay? Because you're talking about jamming your thumb.
Okay.
So, like I'm about at the time of this recording, I'm 40. By the time this comes out, I'll be 41 because my birthday is in December. But you really start to feel things like you fall, and it feels different than when it was back in your 20s, But no, I was outdoors, out in the park playing with my son, and there was like this almost like this what do you call them, that like not a Ferris wheel, but
merry-go-round?
Yeah, like a merry-go-round.
You spin around like this,
right.
You hold onto it or something.
It's supposed to be a safe plastic version of a merry-go-round. And what you do on it is you stand on the lip. Like some people can sit. There's places to sit, but there's also places to stand. And you're supposed to turn the wheel that's on the top of it to make it go round. Well,
it's like one of those giant vomit machines that I was as a kid. Did you have one of those where you sat on it? It was about maybe 3 feet in diameter, and you turned the center wheel as fast as you could. It made you really dizzy.
Something like that, only it's a lot bigger.
Okay. Sounds like a very bad idea.
And
the story.
Once you get the thing to work, because usually we just spin it and we just be running on the ground spinning. It's really hard to do. It goes really slow. But when you start spinning it from the top and you're standing there, it can go. And so the kids are saying faster, faster. Well, I found out that yes, my bottom half of me was moving fast, but the top part not so fast. And so I ended up landing, like I lost my balance, ended up landing on my side right here, on my back, really hard on the plastic part, and then I fell. Then I fell to the ground and got bruises in both legs. Very hard. And now, thank goodness, usually when you go down like that, you're down for a little while. But I'm looking after kids in the middle of the park, and there's other adults around, so I leap back up, and I make sure the other kids are okay. They weren't near me, so thank goodness. But I bounce back up. I'm like, okay, you kids are on your own now, and I'm just leaning against something, just pretending not to be in pain.
Don't do anything stupid, kids. I can't help if you do.
That was pretty much it. So I still have the bruises. It's been like almost 2 weeks, and I still have the bruises. Not fun. Okay,
yeah.
okay. And let's see okay. I'm just looking at my checklist here. Okay, we talked about TV podcast. All right, and another great thing this year, I finally finished Tales of Valhalla season 3. this is a huge accomplishment for me. It took nearly 10 years to make 3 seasons of Tales of Valhalla: The Aftermath Chronicles, which is a stop motion adventure based off the board game HeroScape. And the last episode of season 3 was a half hour, well over a half hour. And it took a lot of time, and Jason knows it took a lot of voiceovers, a bit, and I knew I had to get it done. It's just one of those things personally. I'm like, I gotta get this done. If I stop, as meaning to quit, then it was never going to be finished. So, like a madman, I got it done. When was it? I think it was June. I think I released everything in June this year, and been basically taking a break from doing things for 5 to 6 days a week for the past 10 years. Taking a break from that. Now I'm just doing things like 2 to 3 days a week. So it's all there. It's on the Tales of Valhalla YouTube channel if you want to check it out. The hours and hours worth of fun storytelling content, with the Airborne Elite being the main protagonist, the main protagonist of the show. And it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot when it comes to stop motion animation and all those things when it comes to filmmaking. So, and it's taken a few months, but I'm also now been getting some opportunities from a few different people, and we'll talk about that in a minute too. And so, yeah, I mean, the break that I was planning to take is probably not going to be as long as I thought, which is fine. So that's exciting. But yeah, definitely check that out. I don't know if Jason, you want to talk about that at all, but if you want to recommend anybody see it or not, I don't know.
I'll put links down the show in the description below if you want to check it out. It was definitely a fun series. It's fun to be part of it and all that stuff. So yes, it's a good watch.
Yeah, I mean, I might be a little biased, but yes, I think it is.
At least you like your own work. That's a good first step. Some people don't, and
But this is true. This is true. There's some really bad flops out there where even the people who made it don't like it. So yes, this is very true. Now, let's see here. One thing I do, and of course, this isn't released at the time of this recording. It's not released yet, but this coming Sunday at the time of this recording, I'm going to be talking about that. I am setting up a Patreon for primarily to keep the TOV podcast going, and expand it a little bit so I can reach to other platforms besides Twitch and YouTube. And then grow from there. And there's some perks for that. So there should be, by the time this comes out, there should be a link in the description below for that if you want to give just a little bit of support, just to not only support the TV podcast, but probably future seasons of Tales of Valhalla as well. Now, there's one other thing I'll talk about. Jason doesn't know too much about, so he's going to have to keep quiet about this until I announce it this Sunday at the time of this recording. That when we're recording this
won't be going out till probably December 20th.
Exactly. This is why I can talk about this now. So
I'm not recording any new video before this Sunday. So. We interviewed, and I've kept tabs with this company for a little while over the years, and the people within it, Adventure Together Games. And they're actually, interestingly enough, their crowdfunding campaign ended tonight, and they finished over $200,000. So very good result for that crowdfunding campaign for a game called Time Strike, as well as their source system, which is a system of hex terrain tiles and a lot of other things with it. And many people say, well, that's HeroScape. No, Renegade's doing their own thing. And source is a bit different. Yes, there's things HeroScape, qualities you could play HeroScape on these tiles, but they are different terrain tiles. And so we interviewed them like a couple months ago. I was really excited about their system, and have backed their campaign a little bit. And we have been in talks. Actually, I've been in talks with Chris, who's one of the leads there,
to possibly do a series based off their universe and their terrain system. Since it's similar, I can, it's similar style, so I can do animate in a similar style. We're still in talks for that, but something might be coming, and I've already named the series, what the series is going to be called, and keep the TOV acronym. Tales of the Void. And it's probably going to be a different story than Tales of Valhalla, but since it's going to be a different universe. But I'm very excited about starting to work on that project probably into next year. So that is one thing. And another thing as well, I mean, Jason knows that a little bit. Do you know that a little bit? I think you heard a little bit about that, right?
Oh, what?
About what I just said.
No, that's the first I've heard it.
Okay, it's the first you heard. Okay. Well, there's another additional thing as well. I am also probably going to join their team in helping create the lore behind Time Strike, or be an addition to it. I've already talked to Hannah or Hero, who's developing the lore, and probably going to bring my buddy Jeremy Unit as well, because he is a lore master. So requesting for him to join was a no-brainer. So that is another thing that's going to happen. So there is a lot of opportunity into next year when it comes to this. It's going to probably be a lot of work. It's going to probably be a lot of pre-planning. Probably not going to see much results right away, but I am definitely not going to be idle. So that's something to look forward to, is to actually create another series from stuff that I've been doing the past 10 years anyway. So that is something. And I now I lost my train of thought. Hey, I hate it when that happens. Brain fart. No, I lost it. Say something, Jason. Say something while I collect my thoughts, please.
Oh, that's what happens when you get old. Your brain starts going out.
My brain had gone out since I'm in my 20s, so it's just gotten worse.
Goodness, there's times where I can't remember people's names. It's really bad. I'm like, is this?
Yeah.
Like, am I just getting old right now? Like some serious disease I got to start worrying about. Anyway, that's a really random aside. You know what you're gonna say?
I think that's all I'd want to say when it comes to Adventure Together games. No, that's what. Okay, just got it. Now, for those who are thinking, okay, well, are you going to do HeroScape stuff anymore? Yes. Tales of Valhalla isn't going anywhere. Although I already said that I'm going to take a few years worth of break before I'm even writing scripts or doing pre-production for future season of Tales of Valhalla. But in doing this and doing things with Tales of the Void, this will help prepare me to do things when it comes to whenever we do Tales of Valhalla again. So it's more of a, yes, that's probably more guaranteed to happen now that this is going on. So yeah, I'm excited. It's and like I said, this isn't the only opportunity, but this is the only thing I can talk about now, because some other things I'm under NDA. So it's I'm very thankful. I didn't know what was going to happen I knew that just finishing the series had a hope that something might happen. And so I'm very thankful that, there's a possibility that things will happen into next year. So yeah, besides doing the news stories that I'm been looking up, that is it. So if you want to take over for a second before I do those and talk about what you're doing, that is fine.
Like, you had clearly a much more adventurous year than I did. My highlights were basically getting back into robotic combat, but that's already all over the YouTube channel here. More triathlon, also all over the YouTube channel. I think my biggest highlighted quotes, seriously. It's finally, after nearly 30 years, I officially can say I beat the original Doom and Doom 2 on Ultra Violence, because I did that for like 10 hours, because I was wasting time. Yeah, you had a much more exciting year than I did. I mean, most of the coolest stuff that I did is already somewhere on this YouTube channel. I would like to say that I had a more exciting life than that, but I really didn't. I don't really take many vacations. So yeah, that was basically what I did.
It's one of
Oh,
the. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I
Oh
can
wait a
add
minute.
one thing.
You had your
Yes,
yes,
I've been sitting over here.
yes.
I finally can say I had a successful Kickstarter. It may not have been raising a lot of money, but technically it was
You
successful,
what?
and I did get some, I don't know,
You even met stretch goals.
22 backers. Yes,
Yeah.
for the first set of just some my own 3D printable gaming miniatures. They're kind of near future sci-fi stuff. I think by the time this comes out, you should be able to purchase these guys separately. I've just been kind of lazy. I am actually working on the follow-up to these because this is like one faction in the story. There's the other faction which got name dropped. I don't have my book right here. The Equatorial Compact, who's the other side in the war, and I've got some of the designs for their vehicles. So I'll probably rolling that out some point early next year. It's kind of a way to make a quick, easy hundred-ish, 200, couple $100 if you things go well. So it's like, yeah, it doesn't take a whole lot of work to design those things, and they print up pretty well. And we'll see if I can get a bit of habit of this going and keep building on this story that I'm very, very slowly very slowly releasing. I've obviously got a lot more stuff in my head, but definitely want to slow roll the story so I don't toss too much crazy stuff out right away. Yes, so that was basically the other highlight from the year was actually finally getting a successful crowdfunding campaign. I'm now like 1 for 3 because I've done two other Kaladesh related ones that were a little bit more ambitious than this one, and those didn't get funded. That was years ago. But hey, that's all right. Yeah, so that was basically
You got
my
to take your
year.
wins. You got to take your wins.
Yes, small steps first, then you can get bigger wins later on. Is the hope? So
Yep. Yeah, and a lot of things. I mean, there are a lot more things that happened this year too. Some that there's most I'm not going to mention, but definitely has not. Definitely haven't been idle. I mean, my son started kindergarten this year, and I was actually looking at like an image of where we did like a tabletop battlefield intro when he was just like practically an infant in a wheelchair, and we did a video on that. You remember that?
I think that might be the video I was talking about the holding of the two guns because
Yeah.
is that where
Okay.
I'm going crazy and pulling weapons out from everywhere for some reason the
Yeah,
shotguns
yeah. Someone's coming after you or something. And
yes
yeah, there's a baby at the at the door. And I think
I think
do you
that's
shoot
the
me,
thing.
or is that do you shoot me in a previous
That's
one?
like in multiple episodes, multiple Christmas episodes. That used to be a bit of a tradition. We shot Ryan multiple times and never could
Yeah.
die for some reason. Like I violently murdered by multiple people at once.
I've got my hand
Oh
chopped
well.
off. It's like
Oh, that happened.
because
Yes,
we had a
that
lightsaber battle
definitely
at one
happened
point in
once.
time. So
Yep. Yep. A lot of horrible things happened to you in these episodes. But hey, you're still here and made it through all of it. But I was gonna share we were talking old person injuries
mhm.
stories. Oh my goodness. It's a couple of years ago. This wasn't I was for me 38 when this happened. So I wasn't 40 just quite yet. But the same kind of thing you're talking about with kids. It was Thanksgiving and my nieces, nephews, and cousins or second cousins who were all younger than me managed to convince Uncle Jason to play capture the flag with them
Oh, dear.
in a barn with hay bales and climbing over things. And it was, oh, I don't know what I did to myself.
Bad idea.
But when that was done, I could not walk. And I could barely walk for about 3 or 4 days after that. So, yes. And you think it would have learned my lesson, but this year I played football with the kids. So, I don't know if I actually quite learned my lesson in terms of growing old and injuries, but it happens sometimes. I've stopped playing like racquetball because I was a crazy wild man in that sport, and I'm like, yep, nope, I'm just gonna kill myself playing that sport now. The way I should dive across the court, I can't do that no more. So, but
I'm
anyway, well,
yeah. No, I'm trying to
go ahead.
exercise too. I'm trying to like I gained actually like beginning of the year I gained 130, and then when we went to Peru, I lost like 7 8 pounds, and I was like I was in like 115 116. I'm coming back from Peru, and now I'm like at 120, and I can't get past 120 for some reason. but I'm trying.
Okay, let's move on to story time with Ryan. Let's see what kind of horribly awful, crazy things. If
Okay.
need be, I got the calipers back here to measure the approximate size of artillery shells. Let us never speak of that ever again.
I think nothing that wild or crazy. I didn't see anything that extreme. There's actually
Thank goodness.
couple of
Thank goodness indeed.
and I'm actually probably just going to do 4 besides the video that I showed you before we started, which is not a news story. It was just a funny video. Which anybody who wants to know, look up just Arnold Schwarzenegger singing AI, and you'll probably find it. But
AI is a very terrifying thing that'll kill us all one day.
let me just skim through. Let's just say 4. I had like 15 or 16 that I was selecting.
Okay.
But let me just
Pick
go
your 4 best.
Yeah, let's just do 4 best. All right. So this is the headline for the first one, and this is actually one that we did. I think we did one with a dog last year. So we'll start with the dog this year, and this was actually earlier in the year, April 1st, 2023. The headline is, "This 4-year-old boy got lost in the New Jersey woods, but his very good doggo never left his side." And I'm not going to read this whole thing, but basically you got a 4-year-old, and my son is 5, going on 6, and next year. So I can't imagine my son being 4 years old and being lost in the. I don't know what I do. I freak out. But this boy disappeared, basically with no trace. And let's see, we're looking what time? See, I'll just read some of these parts. Every parent's nightmare for their child to disappear with no trace. Thankfully, this story has the best of endings. The child was reported missing and disappeared for more than an hour the evening of March 30th, according to New Jersey State Police. Let's see here. Hard to imagine what the parents are going through as they waited for their son to be found. Found he was, however, with the quick work of state police, and his dog performed exactly as you expect a very good dog to perform. So the dog basically never left the boy's side, which is... It's very feel good, that at least the dog stayed with him. Police found him, and what could have been a tragedy, ended up being something that's very good. So, because sometimes in situations you just don't know what's going to happen. So, kudos to the dog, kudos to the police and the boy for finding his way out of that. Has a story to tell now for the rest of his life. All right, now this next one is going to be a little bit more extreme. 2 men hospitalized, so they hurt themselves after Monopoly game devolved into a samurai sword fight. First of all, why would you get into such a fight over a Monopoly game that you start using samurai swords? And B, why would you have samurai swords at the ready?
Were they on the wall or something? They just grabbed me, sort of.
Let me see. Unless this is in Japan or something, it's here.
No, Belgium.
Let's see here. Is it in Belgium?
Yes, and here we're talking about a Monopoly game that got too heated outside a residence in Belgium.
Interesting. Okay, so this is the least likely place you expect for a Monopoly game to be played, let alone to have samurai swords. And go Samurai Jack over everybody. So let me see here. I just want to see what the end result is here. In the end, the player and the son. Okay, so it sounds like. Wait a minute. Is this a father and son?
I guess so.
And this is
the player and the son.
Okay, and here we're talking about a Monopoly game that got too heated outside of residents in Belgium. As the clock neared 5 a.m., I guarantee you they were drinking. I guarantee you there was alcohol involved. And the argument over the game was still going. A man inside the residence came out with a stick to put an end to the fight, but players didn't back down. Next thing you know, the man's son showed up with a samurai sword, and that's when things really went south. Oh boy. The player tried to grab the katana and removed the holster. The son tried to get it back, the police said. And I'm kind of confused. It seems like there's 3 people instead of 2. In the end, the player and the son were both taken to the hospital from the wounds tussling over the samurai sword, and both men were arrested. So it seems like it was about to be used, but they were fighting over it, so they were trying to grab it. And if you're trying to grab the blade end of a sword, you're gonna have wounds to your hands and arms and stuff. You're gonna lose fingers. That's just what's gonna happen. So maybe, but I guess you might want to better lose fingers and arms than your life, because someone might have just started hacking away at somebody. So I guess, I don't know.
Or you just weren't thinking, you didn't really
Well, like I said, this is
maybe they
why
had a real sharp sword or something. I don't know.
it doesn't say in this, but I guarantee you alcohol was involved. 5 a.m. Monopoly. It's like, yeah, we've been drinking half the night. What game do we want to play? Well, we don't have Hero Escape around here, so Monopoly. Yeah, why not? All right. Now this next one's kind of fun and funny. Is this torture or not? I think it's funny.
Oh boy. I have managed to, I don't know how long it's been since Baby Shark came out. I have never heard the song. I wanted to stay that way.
5 or 8 years ago, and I know it quite intimately because I have kids.
Yeah, is your kid a big fan of this particular YouTube video that's got like 17 gajillion views at this point?
Used to be, not for a few years. So used to be.
Okay.
He's more into Paw Patrol now. So, but anyway, okay.
Paw Patrol is not any better. Oh, sweet mercy. My nephews used to watch that show. I honestly felt dumber after watching those episodes of that show. I mean, it's just wild.
They actually just released a Paw Patrol movie. My wife took my son to see it. So.
Oh no.
All right. Well, Jason, in our time, in our childhood, it was Barney the dinosaur, And anyone who's our age will know Barney the dinosaur. He who shall not be named.
I don't think I didn't watch Barney the Dinosaur. I'm not sure my parents wouldn't let me watch that. I watched Sesame Street.
Okay.
But not Barney the Dinosaur.
I mean, actually, Barney the dinosaur was more like when we were like coming to our adolescence. So that was actually
that might have
90s
generation. It might have been a bit after our time.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, we were more Looney Tunes and actually good Disney cartoons and like Transformers and such. That was more on it.
I'm hesitant to say any of those cartoon shows were good. There's been times the original Transformers cartoon show, for some reason I was bored one day. I'm like, oh look, the old cartoon shows of Transformers of the '80s are on Netflix. That was a bad idea, man. You just just ruin your childhood. You go back and watch that stuff like, wow, I watched it as a kid. This is terrible. So this point on, there are very few exceptions. I will not watch any of those old cartoon shows I watched as a kid because in my head right now, I remember them being absolutely awesome, and I'm pretty sure they're all terrible if I go back to watch. So I want to keep it that way. But anyway.
Oh, Batman the Animated Series. Like Batman the Animated Series. Yeah, and that's still on the top of my list. Animaniacs, still like top tier. But yeah, I mean, some of them, yeah, it's like the old Spider-Man cartoons. I'm talking about the 90s Spider-Man cartoons. That was good, but I
haven't watched that one as an adult.
It ended terribly because they didn't end it. They end like last episode, and then what happens next? We don't know because we didn't continue the series. Shoot.
Oh, that is not the article. That is talking about random government assassinations. There we go. Okay. Carry on with the story.
That's a story for another time. Okay. So 2 former jail guards have been charged with misdemeanors for forcing inmates to listen to Baby Shark on repeat. I don't think I really need to say anything else about this story. And this was in Oklahoma. So.
I mean, I guess you could maybe call this torture, but I mean, don't most parents have to deal with stuff on similar levels? Every
You
kid's
know
got a
what? You know what?
particular favorite type of something awful to listen to again and again and again. Like, I mean, Frozen, what was that? Let It Go song probably
Oh, good
tortured
Lord.
millions of
Oh,
people.
good Lord. Oh, dear me. Oh, dear me. Um, yeah, because, we need to turn everything to a musical nowadays. But anyway, let me see here. Yeah, 4 inmates filed a civil rights lawsuit in 2021 accusing the two guys of using excessive force and discipline tactics described as torture events. Let's see here. Lawsuit gave several accounts of inmates standing in a stressed position for hours while being handcuffed. I'd say that on its own, okay. That on its own, I get it. Officers followed up by playing Baby Shark on repeat. Now that's just hilarious, though. I'm sorry. That's just repeat on loud that it was reverberating down the halls. The suit described. Yeah. So I mean, I think just the first part. I think the guards deserve a misdemeanor. For just the fact they handcuffed him and that type of thing. Yeah, the Baby Shark thing though is just icing on the cake.
So I'm not gonna listen to the song. There's a certain curiosity.
I can sing you the song if you want me to.
No, no,
Because
no,
I have it.
headphones
I
off
have
right
it.
now.
I have
Your
it
headphones are off.
forever.
Headphones are off.
It is forever in this noggin. It's never going anywhere. It's playing in my head right now. I can just start spouting it out just like that. There's really not much to it either, but no. I'll save everybody the
Can't
torture
imagine what it is.
of not doing that. So move on to the next story, which is it's just
At the
another.
bottom of that article is an embedded YouTube video for 2 hours of Baby Shark. If you really want to understand what that torture was like. And you can just stand in the corner of the room for a few hours and not sit down and then just make it just like what they were dealing with.
Oh dear me. All right. So a man tried abducting an 8-year-old, apparently Michigan girl. So this is in Michigan, from her yard, but her brother blasted the bad guy with his slingshot and saved her. So basically, you got a guy trying to see her, and actually, okay, it says a man, but it was actually a 17-year-old. So a 17-year-old tried to kidnap the 8-year-old girl. Okay, in northern Michigan. So that headline's a little bit misleading. It's not like this guy. It's a 17-year-old dude. Okay, punk kid. The girl's 13-year-old brother saw what was happening from his bedroom window and cut loose with his slingshot. See here. Let me read the part of the article. The suspect was hit in the head and chest with a slingshot projectiles that caused him to let go. In quotation, says the police officer. And the girl was able to struggle and get away, and he shot another one that hit the suspect in the chest, and then he fled the scene. And I think it says somewhere in the article that like he went to the hospital with all these wounds and kind of had to explain, getting a slingshot. The guy's lucky.
Found him at a nearby gas station. He's identifiable from the wounds on his head.
There you go. And I mean, I would say in northern Michigan, the dude's lucky the 13-year-old didn't have a rifle.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I'm thinking. And actually, the 13-year-old was probably like the slingshot was the closest thing he could get to. He probably did have a rifle. He just didn't have the time to reach it.
Quite possibly. Pretty much everybody's armed up there in northern Michigan. Don't check
try
them
that.
off.
Just don't try that yet. Don't. I mean, if you're a young punk kid, just don't try that. Don't try. It's not going to work. So, but anyway, that's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. They still work. Slingshots still work. I'm sure. Maybe. And here's another thing too, possibly. So storytelling mode. Here we go. Maybe the 13-year-old brother. So, like, if you're showing the image of this child looks like he's more like 7 or 8, not 13. But if a 13-year-old's thinking about it, okay, the 17-year-old's trying to take my 8-year-old sister. I could use a rifle, but I'd be afraid to hit my sister, so I'm going to use a slingshot instead. So that way, try and injure the person without, killing anybody. So, yeah.
Entirely possible what could have happened.
Yeah. So let's see. Let me look at this handy dandy checklist I have here, and I think, I'm all out of things to tell, I believe.
Well, that's good. We're getting about to the end of the show anyway. So, any last things you want to mention before we call it one more year of this crazy random Christmas special that has nothing to do with much of anything anymore?
Well, I know this. One great thing is that, we were in such a downer last year because HeroScape, the crowdfunding campaign failed on it, and that was really a big downer. But I know for me, I worked up my resolve. For your YouTube channel, Jason, doesn't matter too much. You do HeroScape a little bit, but
a little bit.
But my channel's kind of HeroScape centered, so it was kind of important. But I knew, like, the day after the crowdfunding campaign failed, I still live streamed, because that's when I regularly live stream. I'm like, I'm still doing this no matter what. And so the TOV podcast is still going. Now that you're going on, I think we're almost to 50 episodes of the TOV podcast, which is just a lot of fun. It's basically a bunch of nerds getting together, not really knowing what they're talking about too much, with the exception there are some of us who do know. And it's mainly about HeroScape, and we have a ball. It's really a lot of fun, and I hope to do more of that until we run out of things to talk about, which will probably be never. Because you could go forever with
Renegade keeps cranking stuff out.
Exactly. So next year is going to be 2024 is not just going to be the year for HeroScape. Actually, so that's going to be 20 years. 2024. Did HeroScape get released in 2004? Is that?
That sounds right. I think
so.
It will be the 20th anniversary of HeroScape.
That will be fun. And it's amazing that we've been doing this for 20 years.
So let's do this here. So if we know the HeroScape Renegade announcement and pre-order is March 1st,
mm-hmm.
When do you think you're gonna see those things ship?
Oh, that's a question. Okay, probably June, July.
Okay, you're gonna go pick an exact date. I'm gonna say November 28th, 2024. Okay.
Well, they already said that we would have miniatures by next Gen Con. So
oh shoot. Yeah. Well, they'd be available for sale by next Gen Con?
Huh?
They'd be available for sale by next Gen Con, or they would?
No, I think they would. They specifically said you would have HeroScape in your hands by the next Gen Con. So,
okay,
I'm gonna say just June 2024. Let's just put it like that. I'm hopeful.
Okay, we'll say okay, fine. June 2024. We'll see how things go. All right, well, let's just go ahead and thank you guys all for watching. I'm Jason.
Merry Christmas. See you guys next year. And hopefully.
He's Ryan, by the way. That's what he's supposed to say.
I'm sorry. I'm Ryan, aka Tales of Valhalla, now coined Tales. That's becoming a thing now. So developing my brand, people, developing my brand.
Indeed. All right, guys. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy New Year. We'll see you in 2024 on the Tabletop Battlefield, as well as TOV Live. Oh, point at the camera. That's how it's got to end.